This is the Andu Kedei Show.
Third episode in 3 days because, ladies and gentlemen, the trade we've all been waiting for has finally happened. James Harden is now a member of the Brooklyn Nets. And not to brag about myself because it was kind of obvious, but I called it in yesterday's episode. I said, dude, they are trading James Harden right now, today. They have to. They can't keep him near the team because it will create a toxic environment. And it happened. Probably the Rockets called the Nets and the Sixers because we all kind of knew that they were the finalists and said, dude, give me your best offers. And I did, quite frankly, I didn't expect him to move to Brooklyn. Why? Because I thought that Ben Simmons package should be more appealing just because it's Ben Simmons. But I guess no one knows what happened right now besides them. But I guess that the Philadelphia 76ers didn't want to attach a motherload of picks to Simmons like Brooklyn did. And I'm sure that Houston was like, okay, give me Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey probably, and 3 or 4 first-round picks. And the Sixers was like, hell no. I will give you just Simmons and the pick and Tyrese. I don't know. I'm guessing. Either way, I think Harden's chances to win a championship are much, much higher in Brooklyn than in any other team. Well, if you went to the Lakers or Clippers and those teams will still have kept their core, yeah, okay. But I'm talking about real. I mean, between Brooklyn and Philly and Miami and Milwaukee, whatever. I think Nets is the most probable destination for him where he can win a championship with the roster as currently constructed. The roster is going to be interesting because you might think that they lost a lot, but I will say that not really because, yeah, they lost LeVert, yeah, they lost Allen, but this was the obvious package. 2 young players with a bright future. Of course, they are going to be traded for James Harden. They still have Dinwiddie, who will be out this season with an injury, but he's still on the roster. Remember that. And they still have Joe Harris. People forget about him, maybe because he's just shooting threes, but he's doing it at a ridiculous rate. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. And he can do other things. Play off ball, run, all over the court, penetrate, finish at the rim. So yeah, he's still there, guys. It's true, they lost Prince also. And right now they have like 3 roster spots. I don't know who will take. Iman Shumpert? I don't know. We will see. They need another center because they only have DeAndre Jordan, who started the season as a starter, and I think 1 or 2 games ago he was coach DMP decision not to play. So yeah, now he'll be the starting center of the team, which is kind of interesting. But talking about like chemistry and how those 3 guys will fit, bro, if you think about it, they are like 3 of the best scorers in the league. We already knew that about KD, about Harden and Kyrie. He can literally score the ball from everywhere on the court. Now it will remain to be seen when Kyrie decides to come back and when will the league let him come back and stuff like that. I will not be surprised if Harden will play earlier than Kyrie will. And I think this will happen. And if you have any questions about Harden and Harden performance this season, all he did was a masquerade, man. He wanted out so badly. This is why he showed out of shape, a little bit overweight, not giving a damn about the team. And remember, the first game he played 44 points, 17 assists, and yes, he was still out of shape. So he's that surreal. And now we can say that the Brooklyn Nets are the only team that have a legitimate big 3. A legitimate big 3. These guys can all be on All-NBA first team if they put their hands, if they put their minds into it. So yeah, it's crazy, man. It's really... I mean, we all expected James Harden to be dealt. But now that the news is real and that it really happened, you kind of, wow. So when was the last traded superstar? Was it AD or Paul George? Well, AD was traded for a mother of picks and it worked. Let's see. Now, the next segment of this podcast, I want to do James Harden trade winners and losers. Let's start with the winners. The Nets. Why? Because the history of the league tells us that the team that gets the best player almost always wins. Almost always wins the trade. You can go back to AD. He got traded for a lot of young players, good players, a bunch of picks. The Lakers won a championship. I don't know what's happening now, right now in New Orleans. We will see. But the history of the league tells us that the team that gets the best player almost always wins. The Nets, it's not the first time they trade a motherload of picks, and the situation you can say is kind of different because then, I don't know what happened then, but they traded for old Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Yeah, so this was a bad move, but right now I'm not sure you can compare. Of course, you can't compare right now because you don't know what those picks will be. But I think this trade is better. I really think this trade is better. So hear me out. The picks that the Rockets received are 2022. Well, they are basically in each year until 2027. In 2027, yeah, I don't know if those three guys will retire, but they will probably not be still that elite. So yeah, these picks might be valuable in the far future. But just a reminder, when that deal happened, when Celtics and Nets, so the Nets got Pierce, Garnett, Jason Terry. Boston received Wallace, Gerald Wallace, Chris Humphries, Mason Brooks, Chris Joseph, Keith Bogans, and first round picks in 2014, 2016, 2018, and the right to swap 2017 first rounders. The 2016 pick was Jaylen Brown. The 2017 pick was Jason Tatum. And they used that 2018 first round pick to acquire Kyrie Irving from the Cavs. And I think that pick transpired into Colin Sexton. So 3 out of those 4 picks, the last pick was James Young being drafted in 2014. Yeah, okay. 3 out of those 4 picks turned out to be amazing. I mean, Colin Sexton is really good. Watch some Cavs games when he comes back. He's really good. So I can't talk about it. I mean, right now, yeah, obviously the Nets won the trade, but who knows what those picks may turn out to be. Then why? Let's continue with this. Why are the Nets the winners of the trade? They now are the best team in the East by far. So I picked them to win the East, obviously, because of how elite KD is, and because of if he wanted that guy to play with Kyrie, I figured that they might have a special chemistry, or who knows, and they were deep as hell. Now, it's finals or bust for them because they can't lose against Milwaukee or Philly or whatever. They can't. And they can challenge the Lakers. I don't know if they are better right now than the Lakers because the Lakers are just flowing and looking amazing, and they brought in some new pieces, but it's easy to integrate those pieces. It's easy to integrate Harrell, Gasol, and Schroeder. Not to mention Wesley Matthews, but they had a year together with their core, LeBron, AD, Caldwell Pope. So we will see. But the finals matchup right now should be between the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets should destroy everyone in the East. And I mean everyone. I don't care if you are Milwaukee, I don't care if you are Philly. You should get destroyed by the Nets. I mentioned earlier, they lost LeVert and Allen. They still have Kyrie. Remember, it was speculated that the Houston might ask for Kyrie in return for Harden. With all this drama, honestly, I think that they are better right now with 7 or 8 picks. 8 picks! than they would have been with 3 picks and Kyrie, honestly. And they still have Dinwiddie for next season. Remember that. Another trade winner, Harden, obviously. He wanted to be gone. And as I said, his chances to win a championship are much higher with the Nets. Plus, he's reuniting with his coach, Mike D'Antoni. He's the head coach. He's the assistant coach, for the Brooklyn Nets, in case you didn't know. Let's move to the other trade winner. The Cavs. Remember, this was kind of a 4-team trade. And what did the Cavs get? Allen. He's only 22, man. His future is bright. He's really athletic. He can block some shots. He can post up. He's a good center. He really is. He'll probably not ever be the MVP, but he's a really good center. And building around him and Sexton and Darius Garland and Isaac Okoro is tempting for the Cavs. He's only 22. And they only had to give Milwaukee 2022 first round pick. Unprotected, of course, but it will probably mean. I don't know how much this pick will mean, because the Milwaukee Bucks will probably be very good in 2022. They just signed Giannis to Supermax, and 2022 it's next year, so it's not that late. Then the Pacers. Why? What did they do? They swapped LeVert with Oladipo, basically. And why this is a good trade? So LeVert shined this year and last season as well. He had a 40-point game this season when KD and Kyrie were not on the court. He's really good. They have similar skill, similar stats. LeVert is 2 years younger, plus he's still under contract. So he would fit perfectly with the Pacers. He's still under contract. They don't have to worry about paying Oladipo. Oladipo isn't expiring. Next season, he will be a free agent. What if he didn't want to come back to Indiana? So they got a player that is really good in Caris LeVert and under contract and 2 years younger. Or is it free? I don't know. But the Pacers obviously were right where they needed to be with this trade. I don't know why Okay, now let's move to losers. At losers, I noted here every team in the East. And right now that I think about it, I think probably Milwaukee. Because, okay, Giannis, let's say, is guarding KD. Or trying. Drew, Middleton, they can guard Kyrie and Harden. But so they basically have like really good defensive players for the big three. But man, I don't see any scenario. If these two teams are healthy in Brooklyn and Milwaukee, I don't see any scenario in which Milwaukee is losing. Milwaukee is winning. So yeah. And I noted here at the losers, Houston. I didn't really know where to put them because they didn't get that young franchise cornerstone that they wished. They only got 8 first-round picks, which sounds insane. And I don't know what's this move with Oladipo. I mean, yeah, he's a terrific player, but are you sure he will really sign there? And given the next year free agency, he will probably want a bag. He will probably want the max. So are you really willing to give Oladipo, who's coming off a really bad injury, but so far he's been playing really good? Are you really ready to offer him the max? With John Wall, Christian Wood? I think PJ Tucker will be gone soon. I didn't get that Oladipo LeVert switch, honestly, from the Houston Rockets point of view. But whatever, we will see what they decide to do with him. And as I said, they got up 8 picks, but I don't know how many of that will turn out to be valuable. We'll probably talk more about it in 2028, I don't know. And we talked about every team on the East, and I said that they're losers. I don't know where to put the Lakers on this. Because, yeah, okay, I'm a Lakers fan and I root for the Lakers, but I'm more scared now than I were before the trade. But I'm still not sure that the Brooklyn Nets are far superior. And why do I say that? Because those three players, yeah, okay, Durant played with Harden, but it was way back and way different. They never played together. Even KD and Kyrie, they had like what, 4 games together out of the 10 Brooklyn Nets games, or whatever the number is. Steve Nash is a first-time head coach, so I don't know how this will work, how this will fit. They will probably make it work because those are three superstars in the league. It will be interesting to see, like, who takes the last shot. It's probably gonna be KD. I mean, it's still KD's team. Harden will get in shape, I'm sure of that. He's so happy he's out of there. But I don't know where to put the Lakers on this right now. At the end of the season, we can probably tell. And another loser of this James Harden trade I noted, the Knicks. Why? Just because. Just because they are the Knicks. And look what the Brooklyn Nets are building. I mean, the Nets have 3 superstars. And man, the Knicks did miss one so bad. I mean, the last superstar who played for the Knicks is Carmelo Anthony. And then it was Patrick Ewing in 1999 and 2000. And oh my God, so the Nets literally can win the next 3 championships. They really can, considering the roster. I don't know what will happen to other teams, obviously, but they can. They have the talent. The Knicks, they cooled off, man. They are on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. So yeah, it was a trend that I didn't really expect to continue when the Knicks were winning and everyone was freaking out. It was a nice surprise, but I didn't think it will continue and it will go on to be like that. So yeah, this is all I noted about James Harden trade, winners, losers. Now, before we wrap up the episode, let's talk a little bit about some teams from last night. Let's check the game. So we had Detroit, Milwaukee. Nothing really to say here. Because, yeah, the outgoing of the match, it was as expected. Milwaukee won. Giannis with a triple-double. Yeah, okay. Let's just move. We had Knicks Brooklyn, and this is interesting. The Battle of New York, as I called it before. And yeah, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett are still balling, but the other team has KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. Man, it still sounds ridiculous to even say it. And one aspect, people said that they lost depth, and yeah, obviously they did, but Bruce Brown is a really good rotation player. Same for Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot. Landry Shamet has his games. So, yeah, they were maybe too deep before for a normal team. You can't say right now that, oh, it's just a big three and there is no one else. No, you can't. No. You can't disrespect Bruce Brown like that. He's been balling the last 2 games. He got more opportunity. 15 points and 14 rebounds today. Last game he had 16 points. So, don't disrespect Bruce Brown. The Nets one, okay. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, kind of not many interesting games now that I watch. It was Memphis and Minnesota, and oh my God, how can the Timberwolves be so bad? I mean, man, the Memphis didn't have Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, and the Timberwolves had Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. I don't know how the Timberwolves can be that bad, man. I mean, so Detroit is 2-9, right? But they have like no good player. Minnesota is 3-8, and I really thought that Towns and Russell were both on the All-Star team at least one time in their career. I think one for each. But man, this is embarrassing. Then Oklahoma Lakers, yeah, Lakers, okay. 30-point game, win. What do you expect? Portland, Sacramento. So, yeah, this was interesting because it looks like the Kings are experimenting a ton of new things. Like Bagley is playing only 20 minutes, and Rashawn Holmes is playing 34. Rashawn Holmes was perfect from the field last night. It was a high-scoring game because neither of those teams can play any defense. And I'm just in love with Tyrese Halliburton. And I feel so bad for the teams that didn't draft him. Like the Suns, they drafted Jalen Smith before him. Yeah, you don't recall this Jalen Smith name? It's because he didn't play. He played 2 or 3 games for the Suns. And Tyrese Halliburton is balling. If I had to redraft right now, Tyrese Halliburton would be in my top 3. No doubt about it. Then Clippers, yeah, they took care of business against New Orleans, but I said it. Play more Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And man, he balled out with 37 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah, I know that part of that is because he played 33 minutes. Lonzo did not play. Bledsoe did not play, but he could as well play 33 minutes and score 13 points. So let me enjoy one of my favorite young players in the league, who in my opinion is underrated and is not getting enough playing time. So yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. Obviously the news with James Harden were the headline of last night. The games were not that good, obviously. But man, it's unbelievable. Especially when you think that, so for the last years, 2 or 3, we didn't have, so since KD left, there was no like legitimate big 3. It really wasn't. You call the Lakers a big 3 with who? Rondo, Kuzma? Not really. And now, these 3 guys, they can all be all-stars. Not all-stars, they can literally be all-NBA first team, all of them. Wow. So it will be interesting, it will be fun to watch. I can't wait for Kyrie to get back just to see how those 3 dudes fit and how they destroy the league together, or how they don't destroy the league and it will turn out to be a complete mess. I don't want to imagine that because I think it will be terrible, not only for them, but for the league in general. I mean, yeah. And remember, Brooklyn Nets started the season literally destroying the league the first 2 games. Right now they're the 6th seed with a 7-6 record, so it's not like they're dominating. So keep that in mind. So thank you guys so much for listening. Let me know what you think of the James Harden trade right in the comment section on YouTube. Thank you if you're listening this on Spotify. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify to get the latest notification whenever I post a podcast. We had 3 in a row. I don't know if you will have an episode tomorrow. Let's see what happens in the NBA as well. Be healthy, be safe. Peace.